There are a lot of videos about growing a year of food. Most of them show giant homesteads with acres of land, livestock, greenhouses, and enough equipment to look more like a farm than a backyard. That is not what this video is about. This is about what actually works for a normal person with a normal backyard, a full-time job, and limited time. Because the honest answer to whether you can grow a year of food in one backyard is, it depends on what you mean. If you mean replacing 100% of every calorie your household consumes, including grains, dairy, oils, and meat, then no. Most suburban backyards cannot realistically support that. But if you mean producing enough vegetables, herbs, berries, and fruit to cover most of your household's produce needs year-round through a combination of fresh harvests, preservation, and perennial systems, then yes, that is absolutely realistic. And it does not require acres of land. It requires a system. A backyard that feeds you for most of the year is not built around one giant summer harvest. It is built around overlapping layers of production, high-output annual vegetables, perennial crops, succession planting, preservation, and storage. When those systems work together intentionally, even a modest backyard can produce hundreds of pounds of food every year, while dramatically reducing dependence on the grocery store. I realized this during my third gardening season. Fresh herbs disappeared from our shopping list entirely. Lettuce became something we harvested instead of bought. Tomatoes from the freezer were still appearing in winter meals months after the plants died. Berry harvests replaced expensive grocery store fruit during summer. The garden stopped feeling like a hobby and started behaving like a real backyard food system. In this video, I'm going to show you what actually works if your goal is to grow meaningful amounts of food in one backyard, how much space it realistically takes, and the 5 systems that make year-round food possible without needing a homestead. The first system is high-output annual crops because space efficiency matters more than almost anything else in a backyard food system. Many beginner gardens waste huge amounts of space on crops that produce surprisingly little food for the area they consume. Corn is one of the biggest examples. A large section of backyard space might only produce a handful of ears. Watermelon vines can occupy an entire bed for 1 or 2 fruits. Productive backyard gardens prioritize crops that generate large harvests from small footprints. Indeterminate tomatoes produce vertically for months instead of spreading horizontally. Pole beans turn empty air into food production. Zucchini can produce dozens of pounds from a single plant. Lettuce, kale, chard, and herbs regenerate continuously through cut-and-come-again harvesting. Cucumbers grown vertically produce heavily while using very little ground space. Potatoes and sweet potatoes produce large calorie harvests in compact areas. Once I shifted toward high-output crops, the difference was immediate. One strategically planted 4x8 raised bed produced more usable food than several earlier beds combined because every plant in it was selected for productivity instead of novelty. The second system is succession planting because most gardens waste time as much as they waste space. A typical backyard garden produces heavily during midsummer and then gradually slows down because beds empty after harvest. Productive food gardens keep roots in the soil continuously. Spring spinach transitions into summer beans, early lettuce transitions into peppers, summer cucumbers are followed by fall greens. The same square foot produces multiple waves of food throughout the year instead of one short harvest cycle. And over time, this dramatically changes annual output. A bed planted once may produce for 2 months. A succession-planted bed can remain productive for 8 or 9 months depending on climate. Timing becomes just as important as square footage. The most productive gardens are not always larger, they simply stay active much longer. The third system is perennial food production because annual vegetables alone rarely create year-round continuity. Perennial crops quietly fill the seasonal gaps annual systems struggle with. Strawberries fruit before tomatoes. Blueberries peak during early summer. Raspberries continue producing into fall. Rosemary, thyme, sage, and chives emerge early in spring before annual vegetables are even planted. Fruit trees extend production into late summer and autumn while producing for decades from one planting. Asparagus returns every year without replanting. Perennial systems also improve over time instead of resetting. A mature blueberry bush produces dramatically more than a young one. Fruit trees increase harvests every season as they establish. Strawberry patches spread naturally. The perennial layer becomes the permanent backbone underneath the annual garden, creating food continuity long before and long after summer vegetables peak. The fourth system is preservation because no backyard produces evenly throughout the year. Every productive garden enters periods of massive surplus during summer. Tomatoes ripen faster than they can be eaten fresh. Beans arrive in waves. Herbs overflow baskets. Zucchini multiplies overnight. Most gardens waste a large percentage of this production because they are designed only for fresh eating. Productive backyard food systems preserve the surplus intentionally. Tomatoes are frozen or canned. Herbs are dried or frozen in olive oil cubes. Beans are blanched and frozen. Garlic and onions cure for winter storage. Potatoes and winter squash remain usable for months in cool spaces. This is the bridge that connects peak summer abundance to winter food availability. Once I started freezing tomatoes and preserving herbs seriously, the garden stopped feeling seasonal. Food harvested in July was still appearing on the table in January. And finally, the fifth system, the one that makes all the others possible, is soil building. Highly productive gardens are not sustained by fertilizer alone. They are sustained by living soil capable of holding moisture, cycling nutrients, and supporting continuous plant growth year after year. Composting, mulching, cover cropping, reduced tillage, and chop and drop fertility cycling all compound soil quality over time. And this matters because productive backyard systems place enormous demand on the soil. Multiple crop cycles, dense planting, and continuous harvests only work long-term if fertility and biology are constantly replenished. Healthy soil is what allows a small backyard to keep producing heavily without collapsing under its own intensity. I noticed this clearly by year 3. Beds with consistent compost, mulch, and cover cropping stayed productive longer into summer heat, required less watering, and recovered faster between planting cycles. The soil system underneath the plants had matured enough to support continuous production. And this is what most people misunderstand about backyard food production. It is not about becoming fully self-sufficient overnight. It is not about producing every calorie your household consumes. It is about building overlapping systems that steadily reduce dependence on outside food while increasing resilience and food security over time. Fresh greens from spring through fall, herbs nearly year-round, tomatoes preserved for winter meals, berry harvests replacing store-bought fruit, potatoes, onions, garlic, and squash stored for months, perennial systems producing automatically while annual systems maximize seasonal output. Individually, each piece may seem small. Together, they compound into something surprisingly powerful, a backyard that meaningfully feeds you across the entire year. And once those systems mature, the garden stops feeling like a hobby that occasionally produces vegetables and starts functioning more like a real food system that becomes more productive, more resilient, and more valuable every single season.